Hello, audience. This is LinkedIn Live. I have posted about this and I was very excited about coming here. So, today we will be interviewing the CEO of MagicBit. Very excited to learn about him. So, let's just add him onto the stream so we can ask him our question. Hello, Mr. Migara.
Hi Nitila. Hi.
Hi, thank you very much for taking your time to come here and answer our questions.
Thanks for invitation, and I gladly accepted your invitation since I've been following you for a while, and it's a pleasure to be here. Actually,
Yeah, I really love that Magic Bit product. I got it, and now I'm waiting for a laptop so that I can quickly plug it in and start coding. Very excited.
really
So,
glad to hear.
yeah, so let's start with our first question. It's about your childhood. So, can you tell us, your school, maybe a little bit about family, just your childhood?
Yeah, now I was born in a town called Ragama in the Gampaha district mainly. So I had my primary education in a private school in Kandana called Seventh Day Adventist High School. Then from the scholarship exam, I moved to Ananda College in Colombo, and I did my A levels there. So as a child, I think I had a pretty decent childhood because I was living in a village called Batuatta near the town of Ragama. So I had plenty of leisure time actually, and one of the secrets of that is actually I never attended for any tuition classes until I was in grade 11, and my parents also didn't pressure for me to do that. I was not that much of a what do you say extracurricular friendly student, but I was rather a very studious guy when I was a little kid, and I think that's because of that is one of the reasons why my parent didn't send me for other tuitions and all. So because of that, I had plenty of free time as a child to do whatever I like, enjoy my life as a child, and of course, I use that time very effectively to enjoy playing with friends and doing some other things. So that was about the childhood, and I think anyway I was doing good in my grades in the school and all. I think going through the free education system in Sri Lanka and taking the best benefits out of that was the prime objective that I had, and I think in fact I was able to get the maximum benefit out of that, and I'm really glad about it.
Okay, very studious guy. Okay, interesting choice of words. And yeah, you were very lucky, it seems. I mean, at that age, grade six, maybe I was. Now, from grade six itself, I started going for tuition classes separately because since online class, you don't really get to study that well. I mean, because most of the time when the teachers are there physically, the teachers come up to you and check your work and they ask you what have you been doing, and they can quickly ask you a question and you have to answer because you're there physically. Nowadays in the Zoom classes, a child can quickly leave as soon as the teacher asks the question, and they can pretend that Miss, I had a connection issue and I couldn't answer the question. Sorry, I'll answer next time. There are a lot of excuses. Also, you can meet your friends. Yeah, physically these days we can't. So it's great. It's great to know that you had a good relationship with friends and family. And what about engineering? Yeah, when did you get into this engineering? I heard that you were an engineer.
Yeah, so by profession, I'm an engineer because after I did my A levels, I entered the University of Moratuwa, and I did electronics and telecommunication engineering there. Now, I think now my parents didn't pressure me to do a specific thing basically, and it was mainly my choice to do the math stream or to become an engineer or select the particular engineering stream of electronics and telecommunication as well. I had that passion mainly. I think as a child, I got the opportunity to visit places like the airport, getting on board to the aircrafts, and I have been to the port, and I've been on board to some of the large cruise ships and some gunships as well. belongs to Sri Lanka Navy, and because my father was working in Sri Lanka Navy, and because of that, I think, and even as a boy, I love the mechanics of other things and aircraft, ships, cars, those kind of things. I think any boy would love to talk about those things and see those things. So that was the natural reaction I had. But further than that, I think I also had the passion of learning about those things more, and learning the subject areas and how to become an engineer in those areas. And I think frankly that was mainly the uh, inspiration behind doing engineering, and following through that path. But I think at a later stage, maybe I also realized that that is something that it is something that I am good at, especially following the match stream, learning about the engineering subjects and all that. So that's why I followed engineering and I fell in love with that.
Yeah, that's great. So that you, so not only at that age you were interested in engineering. I mean, sometimes kids can say they are interested in something at a young age. So let's say I say that I'm interested in engineering at a very young age. It's very common because engineering at a young age we are new to many things. So we tend to like a lot of things that we have never seen. But after that, when you get used to it, you're like, no, I know what engineering is, and I have to learn all these maths and things, and I don't want to do it. So knowing that you were excited about engineering at that young age and you followed through with it, and you got onto ships and planes, so getting that experience and wanting to be an engineer all in one is very good.
Yeah, I think it was a good thing, and that inspiration at a young age provides us the ability to have the dedication and commitment to what we do. And on the other hand, I think now when I was asked what is my future ambition when I was in grade 6 or 7, I think I would also give a typical answer like I would like to become a doctor. But I think when you grow up, maybe when you come to the critical ages to choose what you are going to do, like age
You're
16 or
more serious
17,
about it then.
yeah, I think by that time you have to figure out what really you are going to do. So if you really figure out the correct path that inspires you, which you likes to become one day, I think that will be it, because I don't think everybody will have to become engineers or doctors. I think it's a matter of what you really love to do, and what sort of change that you would like to do in the world in a particular sector.
Okay, so I heard that you are also a programmer, and I think you learn programming recently, maybe in a specific grade. Like if we don't
Uh,
learn it at a young age, it's kind of new programming.
yeah, now when it comes to programming, I have not engaged in a job role for a while now. But of course I have learned a lot of programming languages during my career, even as a student. I think the very first programming language that we learned during school days was maybe C or Pascal. At that time, we had all these computer labs in your schools, and we were taken to this. I think we had a computer science period or something like that in our timetable in the schools. So I think that was the early steps that we had. But I think extensively we got to study about it in the university. So yeah, I think programming is a fascinating thing to
Okay, so you did
especially.
like it and you were fascinated by it.
Yeah, definitely. I now honestly, even when I was in the school, I was always wondering how these websites were made, or how this software is made, and I didn't know how to do that. And so I was curious to know how these things work, and how I can develop something like that. Likewise, and even I was seeking the advice of some people and some maybe engineers at that time or programmers at that time about how it works. So that's how I think uh, I developed the interest in that, and I have been involved in doing some programming work as well, because nowadays it's not just programming, because every engineering discipline or even other disciplines, to develop, if you want to develop a solution nowadays, you have to have some sort of programming knowledge. And I think it's all about learning the basics very well, because programming languages are also changing from time to time. So if you have the correct logic and the correct knowledge about the concepts or the basics, I think it's not difficult to move on to different languages and learn the different programming methods.
Okay, so you went to many programming types, and did you learn all of them, or as
So
in?
honestly, I have learned C programming, Java, all those things in the university. But now, when you are dealing with applications and all that, I think all the web-based related languages, and there are different frameworks for those things as well. And you need different database related things if you are developing applications. So it's that's why I mentioned it's not just about a one programming language. If we want to develop applications in different areas, we need to adapt our knowledge from time to time, and we need to be updated as well. I think as of now I'm not, maybe not updated as a full-time programmer who's doing programming right now, but it's, I think the idea is to keep yourself updated with the knowledge, so at any time you are able to come up with what is the how I can solve this problem with a certain program, or how I can write a code for that one. So basically that's the idea. I think most of these programming languages, they work in the same way, and the logic works in the same way. Of course there could be different syntaxes, and there are sometimes there are completely different things as well, but the logic, I think what matters is the logic, the algorithms and all that. So those things
Okay.
are what matters. And if anybody would like to learn, I highly recommend to follow up with the basics very well. And it's sometimes it you cannot, there are no shortcuts to do that actually. And there are, I think you can, nowadays you can find so many easy ways to learn programming and all that on YouTube and all. But I think if you want to do the real deal, there are no
Yeah.
shortcuts, I guess.
And Magic Bit is a product that you made. It's all of these motors, and it's a big board where you can code. So how did you come up with Magic Bit?
So Magic Bit is basically, now I'm one of the co-founders of Magic Bit. So there are four of us: Anuruddha Tennakon, Akalanka De Silva, Sudat Amarasinghe, and myself. All four of us are co-founders of Magic Bit. So we have contributed for the development of Magic Bit in different ways. But I think the early prototype and the hardware part was the most of that was done by Anuruddha in our team. So Anuruddha, Akalank, and myself, we were batchmates at University of Moratuwa. So how we came up with this idea is, now once we after we graduated, like anybody else, we worked in the industry for like 7-8 years. And so while we are working in the industry, we got together to do some turnkey projects for companies related to Internet of Things mainly. So most of the projects we did was to transform the old machinery in some of the manufacturing plants and make them smart machines by integrating small sensors, developing dashboards and all that. So while doing that, we got requests from universities, education institutes, schools to design them training platforms. For example, small computers, development boards, single board computers, likewise varying requirements. So we developed all that, and while we are doing that only, we realized that why don't we develop a single platform for everyone instead of developing different kinds of solutions. So that's how the idea of Magic Bit came. And our main objective in Magic Bit was to make the learning process for a beginner very easy when it comes to technical innovations, because we believe that everybody has to learn about technical innovations and learn how to develop new innovations with technology. And on the other hand, we are thinking of making technology more accessible and available to everyone. So that's why we created Magic Bit, and those were the motives behind it.
So it started out as this small side project, and now you're handing out all of these kits for these prices, and you have all sorts of things. I also got a kit, and there was something I have never seen before. It's something called a soil module where it checks the moisture of soil. That was the first time I think I saw something like that. So it's great.
Yeah, I think so. Our idea in the with all these plug and play sensors. So I think you have already seen Magic Bit is a very small device like this. So it's like roughly the size of my palm. So basically, all the sensors are plug and play. As you mentioned, the soil moisture sensor, temperature, humidity measuring. So all these sensors can be plugged in with this device, and anybody can develop an application to monitor those things, or maybe to have an automation with relate to that. And there are some cool stuff that you can develop. Basically, I cannot give you a limitation of the number of applications that you can develop with those 10 sensors you have in the Magic Bit Pro kit, because there are countless applications that you can do. So only your creativity is the limitation. So because I have seen some applications done by students, even I didn't thought of those applications earlier. So it's like that. And there are many ways that those things can be implemented. So, and we are updating our content as well on our website and everywhere about projects that others can do. So that's the idea.
Yeah, my father told me I should learn coding and get a small set to get a sensor. He told me to program a special sensor. There used to be a cat that would always sneak into our garden and wander around, mess up the grass, and maybe do a little poo on the grass. It was really annoying because my we would have to remove it most of the time. So my dad was like, "Hey, once you start programming, make a sensor so that we know when the cat comes in and he's annoying us."
So what you can do is there's something called motion sensor in that kit. So if you can have that motion sensor in somewhere close to the place that this cat is sneaking to your place, then you can detect that it is entering. So once it entered your premises, then once you detect an object there, what you can do is either have a buzzer sound through Magic Beat,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
there's a
to
buzzer
quickly
inbuilt, so
scare
you
it.
can, yeah, to scare it off, you can have a sound like that. I think you can work out something like that very easily with this.
Yeah, so one question, was Magic Bit your first product?
As a team, we have developed products earlier as well, and our early products was mainly for industries, it was mainly related to the IoT area, and we were involved in developing few robots as well. And so those are not actually individual projects, and I think the best products can be developed as a team instead of working alone. So we did those things as a team. We had a team of engineers for that. So earlier we had few products, as I mentioned earlier. Even we developed few educational platforms as well. Now with the lessons we learned out of those things, only we came to this idea of Magic Bit, and we were able to create the product prototypes, and even bulk manufacture it. I think even manufacturing a product like this takes there's a learning cycle for that as well. So since we had gone through that cycle earlier, it was kind of easy for us to do this when we were doing Magic Bit.
Okay, so you have done other projects. Okay, so this is quite important question. STEM education, right? Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So, what do you think about it in Sri Lanka? Is it growing?
I think STEM education is happening worldwide. Every region is focusing more on STEM education, especially for the K-12 students who are in from grade 1 to 12 in Sri Lankan education system, if you are speaking. So everywhere it's happening actually, because because everybody knows that the students today will be the workforce of tomorrow, and they will have to face this challenge to work with technology, because some of the job roles that we are talking right now will be extincted by the end of this decade. And when you start to work one day, Netila, some of the job roles that you will have to apply will definitely be designations we have never heard of. For example, I'll tell you a very good example. When I entered the university, we never have heard a job role called a big data engineer, right? But now there are data scientists, there are big data engineers and all that. So new designations are coming up with the technology, and new job roles are appearing. I think that this is why everybody needs to learn about these areas, and that is the importance of STEM education. But when it comes to Sri Lankan context, mainly I think since it is not part of our education system as of now, there's a gap. But I think some of the private institutions, and there are people who are coming up with programs in this sector, and there are students and parents especially who are interested in this area. So it's happening as of now in a small scale, but right now I think it is not implemented in Sri Lanka, or not available in Sri Lanka at a massive scale or at a satisfactory level. I hope that things would change in the coming 3-4 years, and that is one of the missions that we are engaged in also, to popularize STEM education in Sri Lanka. And also through Magic Bit, we are planning to bring the uh, match the or the bridge the gap between the school education system when it comes to STEM and the industry requirement. So we are also on a mission to bridge that gap through standardizing these sort of knowledge systems that we have related to STEM. And I think from policymakers point of view and from education standpoint also, we need more and more content, and we need more modules and more things in our education system as well to support these things.
Okay, so your Magic Bit is also getting connecting to STEM because it will surely be a big thing in the future.
Yes, so actually Magic Pit is essentially we are promoting it as a STEM tool. So our biggest market segment is the age 8 to 18 students. So Magic Bit essentially works as a STEM tool, and we are promoting programming, IoT, electronics, and robotics with Magic Bit. So it's all about creating new stuff, doing innovations, and all that. So it's pretty much related to STEM.
So we do have a comment from cousin Sasinta. Hi, hello, thank you for joining with us. And one from Amita Gamage. Love the discussion. Thank you. Okay, so we have a few comments, and I will display them in case anybody has a question. They can ask them. And also, one more thing is Migara. Something about STEM. I used to think that maybe if you want to apply for a job in the future, maybe when I'm grown up, you would have to have gone through some sort of STEM course to have a job, because I feel like STEM will be such an important thing that if you want to apply for a job, you will have to have gone through some sort of STEM course, which is something I've
Uh,
always thought.
I think rather than the paper qualifications, I see a potential like this, Natila, because now I think you might have heard that Sri Lanka is planning on becoming a nation where we export. We have large IT exports, and even now our IT sector is doing pretty well, and we still have a skill shortage. So we are running out of people who have the necessary skills to perform jobs in the IT sector, main related to tech. So we need more and more future workforce in that area. I think in countries like Sri Lanka in the future also, there'll be very good career prospects when it related to tech, IT, those industries. Uh, So when you follow STEM related courses, when you learn programming at an early age, one career prospect would be to get into those job areas very easily, because I think now I just shared with you that I started learning programming at a good level when I was in the university. So I was about age 20 or age 19 or 20 by then. So compare me to a kid who is learning programming at age 12 right now. So he is far ahead of me at that time. So I think that
Yeah.
should be the case, and I think that should be the case, and that will
That is what
and
STEM is basically promoting.
yes, yes.
To
So
learn more and be more effective at a very young age and learn all of
yes,
these.
definitely. So once you learn those things at a young age, then you can do wonders when you grow old, and when you are a young learner or a young graduate, then you can do wonders with the knowledge you have. And I think once you learn about those things, then you can really decide whether you love this space, or whether you want to move into another area. And although if you move on to another area, let's say you become a farmer, right? And with STEM education, you learn about innovation, you learn about programming, and one day you become a farmer. So what happens is you become a more innovative farmer who knows to use technology effectively to get better results. So eventually you'll be the farmer that the future needs, right? So that's the
Yeah.
idea of STEM education, I think. uh, so definitely in the future, to pursue a good career, definitely they will see whether you have that knowledge, even starting from a young age. But apart from those qualification standpoint, I think when it comes to practical implementation, and your ability to innovate new things and working in the future environment, definitely the students who have followed STEM education would have higher chances of succeeding.
Yeah. We have another comment from Mr. Kaluboilage. Good one, Netila. Yeah, thank you very much for joining. Thank you for watching. Please, we hope all of you stay with us till the end, and so that we can extract more knowledge from Mr. Migar. So, you started this Magic Bit on Kickstarter. What made you go for Kickstarter?
Yes, Natila. So after we launched Magic Bit in Sri Lanka, and we applied for many competitions, so both locally and internationally, and we managed to win over 8 awards in the national level in Sri Lanka, mainly in the education and community service sector. And we showcased Magic Bit in few international conferences. We actually won few international awards as well. While we are doing that, we received a common feedback from every judge panel that we were facing, which was to take Magic Bit to the world, to other countries and to other regions. So we were constantly searching for ways that we can take Magic Bit to other regions. And in fact, a product like this, a learning platform, I think definitely a learning platform needs a community rather than just selling on an e-commerce platform. So we were looking for different options to do that, and that's how we learned this idea about crowdfunding, which has been for a while in the other regions. And there are popular online crowdfunding platforms, and there's a huge crowd behind those platforms, and we call them backers. And this community is more than the population of Sri Lanka, basically. So, for example, a crowdfunding platform like Kickstarter has an active user base more than 20 million users around the world. So I think that's a very large audience when it comes to products like this. And since we are playing in this technical uh, niche area related to technology, and since those platforms have a similar audience, we thought of going for a crowdfunding campaign, and for that we chose Kickstarter.com as our crowdfunding platform online. And so since we had no one to ask here in Sri Lanka about crowdfunding internationally, about Kickstarter, we had to go through kind of a learning cycle, reaching out to people around the world, attending to conferences, and even live chat events like this with people who host talk shows about crowdfunding. So we were attending to almost all the events. We never miss an event on crowdfunding for the last 10 to 10 months to 12 months. And
So
through
you
those,
have prepared, and you have prepared and learned, and you are ready for anything.
yes, yes. So that's how we launched on Kickstart actually.
Okay, so so that's good. You are prepared for anything. And are there any products, any more other products in your pipeline? On your mind, like just like Magic Bit.
Yes, so we have quite a few products in our pipeline because we think there's a lifetime for technology products like this, uh, because the technology is transforming rapidly nowadays. From my understanding, even a product like Magic Bit will have a lifespan about 3 to 4 years maximum. So I think we have few products pipeline in our pipeline at the moment, and few new products, and there are a few accessories coming up to work with Magic Bit. And I'm pretty sure some of those accessories will be amazing, even look like toys to students, and they will be we are going to surprise all of our supporters with quite a few new products. Maybe we can release couple of products every year in the coming next 2 3 years.
Okay. So what is the response from the people who have purchased Magic Bit? Do they like it?
Yeah, so
I mean,
currently,
I certainly love it because I haven't even used it yet, but I love all the features that are in it. So I can tell many people just love it.
yes, definitely we received very good feedback from our users. Now, when we launched on Kickstarter, also we up to now we have around 500 users of Magic Bit in Sri Lanka. You can see even on YouTube there are students who are doing projects on their own, and they are uploading to YouTube different videos as well. And with this Kickstarter campaign, we our community got expanded to over 1,000 users, and it is spread over 30 countries as of now. So I think that's a very good user base, 1,000 users over 30 countries. So I think even now we receive very good feedback because we have sent samples to some influential people and some platform owners, some of our partners in other countries, and we have received very good feedback from them, and they really love the product. They love the ease of use especially. So that's it. And of course I must remind that we didn't come up with this final design all at once. Basically, in our early batches, when we bulk produced Magic Bit in September last year, with our first maybe 1 2 batches, we received feedback from the users, and we always listen to them, and we revised the design. We made it better every time when we are designing or bulk producing it, and that's how we came up with this final design. Even now, we gather the reviews or the feedback from our users, and we try to make it better every time.
Okay, so you're constantly learning from all the users. I mean, that's a really good thing. Listening to your users and learning from what they have to say about your product. It's good that you're listening.
Yes, yes. I think designing
It's
products.
the best and most effective way to improve your product.
Yeah, yeah. I think designing products without the user feedback is not going to work, because at the end of the day, sometimes we think that we have this genius idea and everybody is going to love it, but and soon you realize when you give it to someone else, somebody cannot use it, or somebody is having difficulties, and sometimes it doesn't work in the same way all the time. So then I think we will definitely have to look at that from a user standpoint, and resolve those things to make a better product, which is which is appealing to a larger audience.
Okay. So, as a kid, that you said you like to take apart these electronics, and you were very fascinated about them, and you were very innovative. So, how should kids think innovatively? Like, how can they become? How do they become innovative?
I think innovative in the sense, I think it starts with trying to solving a problem what you see around yourself. So it's all about finding the difficulties that you see others are facing, or maybe a problem in the environment around you, or maybe based on an experience of a person that you know. Then if you are trying to solve a problem, I think that is innovation. And that now when we talk about innovation, there are there is something like this. Of course, you can create something completely new, or else you can make something that exists a better version of that. So both those things are innovations actually. So I think if you are a student, I think if you look around you, I think there are plenty of things that needs few adjustments to make it better. And there are problems that we are facing in our day-to-day environment. There are problems that we see in our environment, in our country, or uh,
Basically,
as
all
the,
around the world.
yeah. So it could be all around the world, maybe a common problem to everyone. So
Yeah,
I
every
think
day a new
trying,
problem appears, and we had to face it.
yes, so trying to provide a solution for those things would be the idea of innovation for me. And I think I have heard that one day the first trillionaire that we are going to see would be a person who is trying to solve the climate change problem. So I think the monetary rewards, or all the things, businesses and other things, comes at a later stage. And I think innovation is the key idea here. So because I think students don't have to my the thing that I want to just share with you is, students don't have to think about the business idea, or to think that it's a business idea, or to create that change the whole world. I think the best way to start is to try solving a small problem that is more relevant to you, which passionates you, or something you care. I think that's the idea.
Okay. So, okay, that's great. Uh, it's interesting to hear your definition of being innovative, and I hope if there were kids watching this, they learn from that, and I hope they can become very innovative from that knowledge. How would you define success? What is your definition of success?
From the success, I think from my point of view, I define success as the real happiness that you enjoy what you do, and you are not moved by how do you say, the materialistic things, like maybe money or fame or other things. I think
Yeah,
achieving success is in life is not about money or fame or something physical that you gather. I think
most
it's
people
about,
become successful by doing what they love, what they're passionate
yeah,
about.
I think it's all about doing what you love. And I think it's all about trying to contribute to the society and to the community that you are part of. And maybe
Being
having
a
good,
good example.
yeah, being a good example, maintaining good relationship with your friends, family and everyone, and just living a simple happy life. I guess that's the ultimate success anybody could have.
Okay, thank you very much. I think I learned from that as well. Normally, most people would say success is running a business and being successful in that. Most people say that, but
No,
hearing that
that's, you know,
from,
I didn't mean that running a successful business or
yeah, yeah, I
something
know that's
that
true. But
is very
hearing it
good.
from
That's,
another point of view, your point of
yeah,
view is also very new.
Yeah, I think even I have heard now. I watch this Shark Tank and all these live shows, and I
Yeah,
recently heard somebody saying, I think it was Mark Cuban, saying that money has little to do with your happiness in life. So I think that's actually true, and I think that that's the whole idea that I want to the message that I want to give to everyone through that.
yeah. I mean, I have heard some people take say an excuse, take an excuse saying that, well, money may not be happiness, but money can buy the things that make me happy. So they just think of it as money is basically happiness. That, but I don't think that's true. I mean, there are other things to being happy. You have family, you have friends.
Yeah, I think apart from the money, what matters the most is the value creation that we all can be part of. So what matters the most is now the day that we are gone from this world, what we are leaving is the value that we created for the next generation or for this world. So I think in every now everybody doesn't have to be an entrepreneur and develop something that change the whole world. I think even doing a job at your fullest scale, contributing to the development of a country, there are good people working in many job roles even now in this COVID situation, working in their capacity for the betterment of the other people. I think doing that sort of stuff uh, is what matters. Everybody doesn't have to be an innovator or a businessman. Otherwise, how can innovators and entrepreneurs can find people to work for them? So basically, there are different roles everybody can play in this equation. But what matters for me, from my point of view, what matters the most is creating value in your job role or as an entrepreneur. What sort of value you can bring into this world, to the community, to the organization you are part of, and to the community. So I think those are my ideas.
Okay. We have some feedback. We have saying, wow, congratulations, sir. Yes, thank you very much for the feedback. Something I really want to know, if you could go back to your school time, as in travel back in time maybe and go back to your school age, what would you do differently now with the knowledge that you currently hold?
What I will try definitely is maybe to skip few grades and go through the education process more quickly. Because
I mean, you could
when
you could even be unfamiliar because the education system was different back then too.
yeah,
Different syllabus.
so actually one thing I think students would have to do nowadays is even when I was graduated, I was around 24 years, and when you compare that with other countries, in most of the countries, students graduate at the year of at 21 years or 20 years, and in some countries even before that. So I think that's the reason that you see very young people coming up with good businesses by the age of 28, 29, 30 in some other regions of the world. If you see some of the big tech companies in Silicon Valley or somewhere in other, even in highly developed countries,
Yeah.
now they are run by very young people who are age 28 or 30. So you see that in our country or in our environment, I think by the age of 30 or 25, most of us are not ready to take that challenge. I think if I can go back in time, what I would definitely do is try to learn all those things and go through the education system quite fast and get into more practical experience on a job role or maybe in the industry, learning about other areas and acquiring those skills very quickly would be the thing that I will definitely do if I can go back.
Okay. Okay. So you're gonna do a lot of things differently. I mean, there would be a lot of different things I'd do to maybe work harder. Not sure about that. Maybe maybe do a little bit of extra sports, study for long periods of time, make the best out of that young age that I have as well. So, why should kids learn technology related subjects? If you could define it in a very short way, why should they do it?
I think the very simple answer I can give for that is, in the near future, and it's already happening, every area that we speak of is affected by technology. Now we cannot almost distinguish between the technology and the areas like medical field, right? And soon that will happen to agriculture, or maybe even other areas like maybe music, right? So nowadays we cannot think of other areas without technology, and that thing will continue to happen. So regardless of the area that you are planning to engage in the future, you will have to face the challenge of technology. So I think that is the basic reason that everybody has to learn about technology. And when we talk about technology, I'm not talking about a very specific niche area, but the general concepts of technology, like learning about things like programming, things like IoT, things like maybe even AI. So those things I think will dominate most of the areas in future. I think that's why you need to learn about those things. Apart from that, now why this STEM education and all these things have been introduced to the curriculums in most of the countries is, it gives you the opportunity to develop your logic, your innovativeness, the ability to solve problems. So once you acquire that sort of skills, it's kind of easy to become an innovator in every field that you are engaged in. Whether you are a farm, if you are a farmer, you can develop better products or become a more efficient farmer who is much different to others, and you can achieve better results with lesser work. And if you are a musician, you can produce better music compared to others. So I think that's the idea of learning technology regardless of the area that you are interested in to follow in the future.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about it and when you really think about it deeply, we can see how much we rely on technology, and we how much like we can't survive without technology. Nowadays, the doctors and all these engineers, they are figuring out. I already saw a few videos. They are doing surgery from robotic
Yeah,
arms, and
yeah.
by using 5G Wi-Fi, and they're already testing it by cutting into fruits and stitching
Yeah.
back. So we can see how much we'll be relying on technology in
and
the future.
and honestly, Natila, there are job roles. If you are thinking about the repetitive job roles that does not require that much of creativity or that much of logic, all those jobs are getting replaced by machines now, and all those things are getting replaced with automation, right? And if you now, when I was young, there was a job role called typist in some of the government offices and all. I think now they don't hire typists and all, right?
Yeah, they
So
probably have software
yeah,
robots.
so the same thing will happen to other job roles as well, if you, because something you cannot replace with machines or automations is the creativity and innovativeness of humans, right? That is
Yeah,
something we
without that
still.
creativity or innovative, there wouldn't be any robots. So
Yes, yes. So definitely, if you are creative, if you are innovative, if you know the technology, then your job role or the place where suited in the future of this world will not be replaced by a robot or anyone else. So definitely, you can stand out in the future environment if you have that skill set.
that is until artificial intelligence comes and kicks you out.
No, no, I think that won't be a worry for now, because
Yeah, we
even
haven't
the.
come across that much of a big thing in
Yeah, so
artificial
even
intelligence.
even the artificial intelligence that we talk about right now is most of the time very application specific, like targeting a specific application, learning, developing an algo for that one, like that. I
Yeah,
think
we
the
humans, we can do multitask, we
yes,
can do
yes.
everything.
So the capacity of the human brain to have that sort of creativity in a wide range of applications is unmatched by any machine as of now. I'm not sure whether that thing is going to change in the coming years. But hopefully, if you learn the technology and everything, maybe you could become the person who is developing that.
Yeah, the creator of Tesla and SpaceX, Elon Musk, has already planned on making a
Yeah,
Tesla bot artificial intelligence. So some people are actually worried about artificial intelligence, thinking, "Oh, they will take over the human race." So no, this is bad.
no, there's a long
Yeah,
way for
that's
that.
only in the films.
And by the way, as of now, with the technology we have right now, there's a long way for that.
Yeah, I mean, with the virus, all this development and stuff, it has been slowed down with all the lockdowns, and people are worried to come outside and work. So, why aren't there many innovative products in Sri Lanka?
I think one of the reasons for that one is in most of the time in our environment, coming up with new products or developing new businesses and all that is not that much encouraged. And also I think there's lack of opportunity for most of the innovators also to take their products to the market. Now even in Sri Lanka, I have been working with Sri Lanka Inventors Commission for some time. I have seen remarkable products coming up for exhibitions done by students, even school students. There were some excellent innovations done by people and students in Sri Lanka. So, but we seldom see those products coming to the market. And one of the reasons that we did this international crowdfunding campaign with Kickstarter also to show others that there are ways that you can take a product to the market without investing a lot of money, and mainly getting the support of others, of the support of the community. And we wanted to show everyone that there are people who believe in your ideas. If you have a very strong idea, and if you can develop prototype, and there are people who are ready to buy it before you even produce it. So that's the idea that we also wanted to promote. Apart from that, I think why we are not coming up with that much of innovative physical products is mainly innovation or that sort of developing new products are not that much encouraged here in Sri Lanka. And there are challenges to take that. Even though you develop that sort of a product, there are challenges to take it to the market. And from innovators point of view also, I think there's a responsibility where I honestly have seen some products developed in Sri Lanka. They innovate some stuff for the sake of innovating, because if you really want to develop a product that change others lives, or which others are willing to purchase by paying you money, I think that product or that innovation should be able to replicate or scale. And there it should be competing, it should be able to compete with the other products in the world right now. Because right now, if you manufacture something in Sri Lanka for 5,000 rupees, if you can get the same thing for 1,000 rupees or 500 rupees from other country, there's no point of developing that likewise. And also there should be credibility on the performance of that device or the product or the innovation. So I think those are the things that anybody has to consider about when developing the product. And I think sometimes not thinking about those aspects, the scalability, the robustness and the cost effectiveness of the innovations is also a reason for the failure when it comes to market.
So things like Kickstarter, Airbnb, those are all from like countries like USA, and they are really good at coming up with these brand new products and services. They are very innovative minds. Sri Lanka also, we have. I mean, it's not like we don't have. We have many, but we aren't like at that much of a fast rate because we have been slowed down a little. So if before we wrap it up, the session, what is your overall advice to the parents of the young innovators?
So my advice to anyone would be uh, to learn the basics very well, because I think sometimes now what happens is, even the students and the parents, when they see a single YouTube video, suddenly all of a sudden you think that you can develop the next Tesla, or the next Tesla bot on the next day, and soon you realize that you cannot do it, and you simply give up the whole thing and move on to another thing. I think the idea here is to learn the basics very well, and try to create value through the process that you are trying to engage with the society. So my advice to any student or the parent would be to there are two things mainly. One thing is learn the basics very well, that is mainly the education and the interested areas that you would like to pursue. And the second thing would be to don't neglect the technology, and learn about the technology, and always when you get an opportunity, learn about these things like programming, about STEM education, maybe about innovation. I think you have to take that chance and learn about those things, because otherwise you won't be able to face the challenges of future. So I think if somebody can have the basics very well, and learn about technology, and put together those things, uh, then I think those students would do wonders in future. So that is my humble request to any parent or student. And while you are doing that, don't think that you are failing in something, and don't no need to give up. And just it's all about simply enjoying life, be happy, and just do what you love. I think finding that inner passion in you, and developing new things through that passion, would be the best thing in life that anybody can do.
So thank you very much for taking your time and answering our questions. We really appreciated it. It was great to have you, Mr. Migar, have you here, Mr. Migar, and I'm sure the audience got answers to a lot of questions. And I'm sure many kids who are watching this and who will watch this got an idea on how to think innovatively.
Thank you, Netila, and thank you for the invitation. I was happy to accept your invitation, and I also follow your channel for a while. So I think you are doing a wonderful job, and for your age, I think this is remarkable, because now I think you had a question also. What would I tell to my what would I would suggest to myself if I can go back in time? Definitely, I would suggest myself to be like Netila if I can go back in time, because for your age you are doing a remarkable job, and this show is great, and you are conducting this session very well like a pro. So, and good luck with your future work, and congratulations for the wonderful job you are doing as a very young entrepreneur. So, and good luck with everything, and thanks for inviting me. And I also had a great time, and I hope the audience here today also was able to maybe grab couple of thoughts out of what we spoke. So that's it. Thank you, Natila.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I also would like to thank the audience as well. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for staying with us. And we also have a few comments also. Great, Nitila. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for staying. And wonderful job, Nitila. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. So thank you very much, audience, and stay safe.